Okay, thank you. So, just a quick list of groupings of nasties out there to be aware of. Other living people's toxicity that has nothing to do with you. Number one thing to assume first, that that's what's happening, even if you don't necessarily have, you know, a conscious awareness of it. Other living people, toxicity is big number one to be aware of, especially when you're first starting out and you're feeling like attacked. It may just be that you're more aware of your reaction to other people's toxicities. And then, as you were just mentioning, I mean, harmful judgments or projections of you by yourself or others, like harassing you. Another nasty, not necessarily metaphysical, could be. And then, the way I define the evil eye is very not Italian, but it's the generic thing where a living person is deliberately directing harmful energy at you on purpose because for whatever reason I hate you. And I've actually had that happen to me walking into metaphysical bookstores where either the owner or somebody in the shop just doesn't like me and just starts, screw you. Anyway, but that's a living person. You can definitely stop that. Psychic vampires, so living people who feed on your toxicity and encourage it. And we kind of talked about some of that. And then on the psychic plane, scavengers, or what I just call little nasties, who are mischievous but usually harmless. Who and sometimes this is elemental beings, which is my next topic. Elemental creatures like fairies and devas and nymphs, wood nymphs, natural kinds of elemental creatures who may or may not care about you. They're just doing their thing, whether you're in their way or not. Are kind of in that realm of mischievous but harmless. And then there are ghosts that are earthbound who may or may not intentionally be trying to harm you. As I mentioned, I've done a lot of ghost work, and I've been in haunted situations where I am grabbed, choked, pushed, I mean, all that kind of fun stuff. And typically it's not because I'm trying, because this ghost is out to get me. It's because there's so many ghosts don't realize that they're dead. And because my flame and my awareness is out here for whatever, 30 years of work that's done to me, they feel like I can see them or hear them, and they're grabbing at me saying, "Oh, please help me." So don't always assume that earthbound spirits are intending to harm you. Some of them are. One particular story in particular was when I found a pedophile ghost in a little boy's room who was there deliberately, knew what he was doing, knew he was dead, was like, screw you, Sheri, I've got a good thing going here. And I was like, no, bye. Anyway, then there's something called thought forms, also called larvae, which are energetic beings that really don't have their own intelligence, but they are intentionally created by someone, maybe for harm, maybe for not. One great thought form to do is to create a ward in your front door, your back door, that is like an energetic kind of spiritual warrior to stand at your front door and say, "None shall pass," That's a thought form. It can't really think on its own, but it's going to be there, and you can set thought forms to warn you when there's somebody trying to bust your door in, or whatever. I'm not proud of it, but I've put thought forms in work situations, which isn't maybe ethical, incredibly ethical, but it's very helpful to know. And then there's the true malevolent spirit, which is honestly a true nasty that has no positive purpose. I personally dislike the terms demon or devil, but that's it's very generic. The reason I hate that term, those terms, is that um, it's not definitive enough. It's like, oh, this monster that I need to be afraid of because it's bad. Is That's not enough for me. I want to define it. I want to know what kind of spirit it is, why it's malevolent. When I encounter them, I do that. And I encourage anyone, when you find any kind of, or encounter any kind of strange energy, you ask them 3 questions and you say it in a real demanding, stern voice. Who are you? What do you want? Why are you here? That's what I do. And when they don't respond, that's usually because they're a malevolent spirit that are there for malevolent reasons. And so I just start asking them more questions, which makes them even more either either unhappy and attacking me, or much more likely to shrink away because they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be anybody to be aware that they're around sneaking. So that's kind of my general group of lists of the nasties out there. Any questions on that one? Okay, so now I want to talk about your strength, because what are we if we don't have our strength? Gosh, and when I say strength, physical strength, emotional strength, spiritual strength, all of those factors come into play when you kind of give an overall rating of how strong are you right now. So think about that for a second. If I were to ask you, how strong do you feel right now on a score, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you think?
Can you define
1?
strength?
Yeah.
Can you define what strength means to you?
Sure. And I'm saying a combination of your physical strength. So, are you in great physical shape right now? Or are you, like me, kind of not in great shape, not enough caffeine, kind of tired? My physical strength is a little low right now. But it's not like on the floor, like I'm unconscious and barely alive. So my physical strength is somewhere between 1 and 10. Emotional strength too. So how confident am I in this situation where I am right now? Is I personally love this situation with wonderful people around me, and so my emotional strength right now is actually pretty high. But there's plenty of times where like I got a phone call from my boss yesterday, and I was kind of like emotional low strength, going, I'm in trouble, right? And it didn't turn out to be that way, but that was my initial reaction. And then spiritual strength, meaning how powerful and strong do you feel spiritually right now? Do you feel like um, I have sovereignty. I can do anything I want right now if I felt like it. Or do you feel, like, oh my God, I'm just barely alive. I can't survive another day, or somewhere in between. That's what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
So if I were to ask you right now, how physically strong do you feel on a score of 1 to 10? Write down a number if you have a pen, or put it in the chat if you want. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how emotionally strong do you feel right now? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how spiritually strong do you feel right now? And then add up your scores. So on a scale from 3 to 30, what did you come up with? So I came up with 18. Isn't the strongest in the world, but that's, well, yeah. Anyway, so whatever your number is, just think on it for a second. And I'd like to try something called muscle testing. Has anyone heard of that before? Have you done this before? It's really simple. There's different ways to do it. The way that I always go with is the finger locking method. So you put your fingers like this, and then you ask a yes/no question, and you pull. And when they come apart, the answer is no. If they stay together, the answer is yes. So try asking, ask them some obvious yes/no questions to start, just to kind of gauge how well you're. These answers, by the way, whether your fingers come apart or not, is coming from your spirit, your unconscious spirit. So, is my name Sheri? Yes. Is it 11 a.m. Pacific time? Yes. So just try with some obvious questions. Am I wearing purple right now? Am I wearing green right now? No. Just start with some yes/no questions, and then oh, someone trying to join. And then ask yourself, is my emotional or is my physical strength, whatever your number you came up with? Like I came up with 3. Is my physical strength really 3? Yes or no? Yes. Row. And then is my emotional strength really 8? Yes. And just validate your numbers that way. So give it a whirl. I'll give you a minute.
Hey Sheri, I'm glad we're
Okay.
doing muscle testing. I've tried this method before. I don't know if I have too much like cognitive bias in it, but the only muscle testing I'll respond to is the like standing straight up, right? And kind of moving back and forth. Is there another way I could I don't know.
Oh, use your fingers?
Well, I think that would be like, I'm in the grocery store saying, does my body want to eat this, and moving back, I would love to be able to do something a little more subtle, but I feel like I don't know. I even asking, I have a hard time with this one.
So that's why I do this, for being in public, like in a grocery store where no one. The standing thing. So the way you do that is you just ask your question when you're standing up, and whether you sway, if you sway forward, it's yes, and if you sway back, it's no, or vice versa, whatever works for you. And that's something you can do in the grocery store that's not obvious to people.
I definitely like, I like the standing one because it's able to go beyond whatever mentally I'm thinking, but I would love to be able to transfer that to something a little more subtle or easier, because I have to reset my body, right? This is a kind of simpler thing. Do you have any suggestions on how to make this work better?
I just like asking those obvious questions, am I wearing green? No. Am I wearing purple? Yes. Just to gauge how well your answers are coming through. And just keep doing that, because it's training your mind to respond. But yeah, there's lots of different ways to do it, and it's there isn't any one good way. There's just your way that works for you. As I mentioned, a pendulum is another great way to get yes/no answers. Welcome, Jen, by the way. Hi, honey. Excuse me. Yeah, I just wanted to. I didn't want to derail too far, but I wanted to give just a quick way to get quick answers.
Yeah, that's definitely
and-
what I want to. I think the body works, but it's a lot when you're buying multiple things at a grocery store to do that. So it's one way to do it. And a pendulum is not very discreet either for a
Not a grocery store thing, right?
Yeah. So
exactly.
I really, but my body thinks I'm wearing red right now when I'm doing this. So I don't know.
It's not working for you. I'm trying to remember. You might Google it. I know there's a million ways. I remember one friend of mine had this finger thing where the finger was either curved up or straight. I forget. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I'm having the same exact thing as Sarah is having right now. And the thing that I respond to is the hand out when somebody else is it.
Pushes on
So
it.
I was just playing around, Sarah, with using my finger, and it seemed to work better than this. So and if it went down, and if I held,
Interesting.
I don't know. We could probably find our own thing that works for us.
Totally. But it's a great skill to have. Like you said, wherever you are, if it's something that you've practiced and gotten really good at, that doesn't require you having anything other than your hands or whatever, it's a great thing to have. And Jen, we were talking about muscle testing. Oh, we got Creation on. Hey, Creation. So we're just talking about muscle testing in relation to, so what I was talking about, we talked a little about psychic nasties, well, all kinds of nasties, living nasties, psychic nasties, elemental nasties. And then we started talking about strength. And so the reason that I asked you to think about quantifying, giving a number to your physical strength, your emotional strength, and your spiritual strength is that I really believe that cleanliness in ourselves is tantamount. Anybody that's at all magically aware or psychically aware has a responsibility to themselves and the world around you. I mean, you're kind of a lethal weapon in a way, or can be. If you're not careful, you can do damage to other people. I did it, right? I was a psychic vampire on people trying to my personal pattern was looking for approval, or acceptance. And I would dig my claws in, please give me approval and acceptance, until I healed that piece of myself. So I'm just saying, part of that handshake of being sovereign within yourself is keeping yourself clean and knowing where you are. And so asking yourself, and I do this every morning, is asking myself, how strong am I today? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's my physical strength? Because that's where I fall down. I'm not so great at the keeping my physical body healthy. And where are we if we don't have a good physical body, right, Jen? I don't want to get Jen started. I'm kidding. But then my emotional strength too, and my physical strength. And doing that on a daily basis, in a repetitive way, is a great way of checking in with yourself, because your strength is everything. And if your strength is low, you need to think about why, and work towards taking away the harmful in whatever's harming you. Go ahead, Sean.
I just wanted to pop in something that came up when you were talking about physical strength. I think you bring it into the context of your range of physical strength. versus some sort of like objective, like, you know, relative to somebody else, how strong am I? Because depending on the person, you know, your body might not stack up to your peers, but you can still like work within yourself of like, this is a good day for my body, or this is a good day for my emotion.
That's an excellent point. Thank you so much. Yes, it's your definition of how you want to feel, how strong you want to be. It's not like some committee somewhere that's got a you know, a checklist for what denotes a 10 in physical strength, you know. No, it's what you think. Exactly. Sarah, I see you giggling. Any other comments or questions?
My cats are screaming at me, so I'm just talking.
Oh, okay.
And I completely agree that we're in, you know, we're in a race against ourselves, right? We're, you know, comparing ourselves to others. That's a really good point, because, you know, maybe I'm not going to be Mr. Strongman, but doesn't mean I'm not, you know, my physical peak or whatever.
Exactly. And then another thing to be just aware of, and this is a practice, I think, of just checking in with yourself and being aware of how your strength fluctuates in different situations with different energies. Because, you know, as we were saying, if you're triggered in a large crowd situation, then pay attention to that and see what helps your strength come back up. If you feel like your strength is coming down, maybe it's your emotional strength. Maybe it's because, you know, you have triggers related to being in that situation. Or like in my case, I was Jen and emotional. I was talking about one of the things that I love to warn everybody about is going to metaphysical bookstores or shops, because there are shop owners and other customers and nasties that customers have left in those shops that are harmful. And think about, I was making a point before about, think about the difference between toxic energies around you and harmful energies, because if they're toxic and they're not harming you, then you're okay, right? But if they're harming you, you've got to actively do something. So think about what's harming you and what isn't. So another thing I wanted to make a point of is energies, or emotions, I'm sorry, have power, and words have powerful energies around them. And if you're aware of Dr. Emoto, he wrote a book in the early 2000s about the hidden messages in water. And he did this really, really fascinating experiment where he would, his assertion was, or his theory was, that water can show the energy of emotions, and it will, the energy of different emotions can actually change its physical structure. So what his team, he or his team would do was put water like in a glass or a cylinder or something, and project different kinds of emotions in it, and then freeze the water and examine the ice crystals under a microscope and take pictures of them. It's fascinating. Take a look, Google Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, and take a look at the pictures. I put some in the document too, where, so if you take a glass of water and you just say the words, thank you, thank you, thank you to it, the ice crystals, when you freeze that water, are incredibly complex and beautiful. The positive words just make these really beautiful patterns. And the negative words, like I hate you, you make me sick, you know, pollution, when you look at them, they're very not complex and ugly, and just and it's just amazing that you can prove how emotions and words have an energetic effect on something really physical. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? So one thing, so Lynn, when you were talking about the kind of muscle testing that you do, and I love the finger version of that. I've never heard that before, and that's awesome. But one of the ways that you can prove how emotions and words affect you or other people is with that arm out. You know, if we were in a room and we had 10 people around here and we had one volunteer in the middle holding their arm out, so you can do this with your friends. You know, keep your arm straight out and then have everyone chant some words and project emotions. You know, so thank you, and your arm stays strong. And maybe this would work with the fingers, is what I'm getting at. Or, you know, other positive things. I love you, and your arm stays strong. You're a wonderful person, and your arm stays strong. Versus, I hate you, and your arm breaks, right? You make me sick, and your arm breaks. Because those are, as toxic as they also are weak. They make us weak, and they encourage weakness in others. And so that's why positivity is strength. I really connect the two. See a couple of you trying it. Does it work? If you do it with the fingers. So you're going to try and bend the finger if it's weak, right? I love you. And it's kind of stays. It didn't bend. Thank you. And it stays straight. You make me sick. And I bent it. That's cool. Hi, Apollo. Oh, thanks, Jen. Yep. Dr. Masaro Emoto. And so the next class I want to teach, by the way, and maybe it's next weekend, is Reiki. I'm a huge fanatic for Reiki. If you're in the area, I really encourage you to come in person. I'll try and do remote attunements if you can't be in person, but it's such a wonderful modality. And I love talking about Dr. Emoto in that class, because when you bring Reiki in, you can really feel the difference in different emotions, energies. Anyway, so shutting up for now. Does anyone have anything they want to share about their experience with positive and negative words on their arm or fingers? Just again, something to keep yourself just constantly well, not constantly, but as you think about it a couple times a day, just keep trying to check in with yourself and ask yourself, how do I feel about my boss? Yeah, actually pretty good. How does my boss feel about me? Yeah, pretty good, right? that just kind of checking in, it becomes a natural thing. And it keeps you.
I love this. This is great. This is a little muscle. I don't know why this one doesn't work as well. But thank you, Lynn. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep trying.
I think, there's definitely sometimes some spiritual bypassing where we just say like, oh, everything's great and wonderful. So it's also really good to have that kind of unbiased check-in, like I'm grateful, right? I am loved, but maybe not too happy right now, so it's all good things to work on, and I think too, like Dr. Emoto, I love that, all that, the water consciousness, because a lot of times we say, why did this happen to me, right? Instead of rephrasing it, why did this happen for me? I think even just like a restructuring of like not denying negative things, right? That some things are painful, but allowing that suffering not to be prolonged, right? What can this pain teach me, right? Where is that lesson? I like viewing that like the 4 versus 2 in life lessons. Thanks,
That's
Sheri.
so awesome. I love that. I'm sorry, I saw hands up and then they went down. Someone else want to add something?
Yeah, so it is so hard for me to think that about like the horrible things that I feel like happened to me, right? So I think my little bypass is, why is this happening? You know, because then you're not really you're not taking it on, but you're also, you know, sometimes there's a lot of steps in between, you know, allowing yourself to say, why is this happening for me, when you get assaulted or something, you know, right? But then it's like, just why is this happening? What is it that is within my power to do or to learn from? You know, because sometimes it's not even your responsibility to even learn anything, like you didn't have any part in it, right? But like your participation was necessary, right, for someone else's experience, or who knows, their opportunity to learn something. But
Exactly. And sovereignty means taking control, right? Taking ownership and control of what's going on as much as you possibly can. I mean, nobody has 100% control of everything. You walk outside and you might get run over by a car or whatever, you know. I mean, nobody has full control, but you have a lot more control than you probably are aware of.
I love control. Yeah, I look for it at every opportunity.
Or power, maybe power is a better word than control.
I like them both.
Right. Power girls. Any other comments? Okay, well, so going into actual psychic protection, or also known as psychic defense, self-defense, or shielding, it's really about setting boundaries, and with the idea to specifically prevent your energetic aura from being frayed or influenced by the people or energies around you. Excuse me. And energetically protecting your energy and space. And as so many other things in magic, or in magical conversations, in any tradition really, we have not only the desire to understand what's happening, but we have the obligation to protect ourselves, keep ourselves safe, and keep things safe around us as much as possible. So if you're in a situation where somebody is psychically vampiring you, and you know, the first thing is, I think, is to be aware that it's happening and bring them to awareness, because they may very well not be aware. I wasn't aware that I was doing it until someone called me out on it, and I thank them for it. My first Wicca teacher, who kicked my butt in a lot of ways, and it wasn't very pleasant, but you know, anyway, quick list of things to do is, number one, keep yourself clean. And every morning, whether you feel attacked or not, a lot of things you can do. You don't have to do them all. Do what works for you, what you feel is right for you in managing your sovereignty. Is you can use sage to smudge, cleanse your aura. Salt is hugely cleansing. I personally am a huge fan of Epsom salt baths in the morning. Or actually, you can use Epsom salt in the shower too. Just take a handful and get it wet and make it a paste, and then rub it on yourself. And that salt will cleanse the crap off of your aura wherever you feel dirty, energetically, wherever your aura feels dirty, then your body probably feels dirty too while you're in the shower, right? Affirmations, very important in the morning. And the reason that affirmations, by the way, are so important in the morning, and again, this is, you have to figure out how you work. But for me, my time is morning. My brain is, when you're coming awake from being asleep, especially if you are in theta mode, you're still, when you're awakening, you're coming back to consciousness, but your brain is still somewhat in theta, and that's a wonderful way, a wonderful time, I should say, to do affirmations, and also to set your energetic sovereignty boundaries. I say, I now command that anything negative be 100% completely removed, healed, and uncreated, and all my energetic spaces be filled with love and light. Thank you. And that's, for me, it's an affirmation of my sovereignty. It's a cleansing of anything I don't want, and and bringing me back to my power. So, but you do you. I have a couple of suggestions in the document of things we can do. So I'll get that to you in a minute. Continuously monitor yourself the way we've been talking about for your toxicity, and understand your shadow shit. Understand where you're coming from and what you're doing. When you go out in public shield, we're going to talk about shielding in a minute. Always, especially around magical folk, please don't assume anything when you're Zoom is an amazing place, but it's there's still energetic boundaries going on in Zoom, but in person it's you're vulnerable, you're open unless you've got some kind of shield up. So be aware of that. If you do feel attacked, try and stay calm and positive. Repeat some of the quick healing affirmations that I've got, and stand strong, stand tall, and be strong. Even if you don't feel it, because your body will react to your aura, and your aura will react to your body. So if you do physical things with your body, like standing tall, just standing tall is just an amazing thing. The mountain pose, right, in yoga, that's putting yourself in strength and positivity, even though you're feeling attacked. It can raise your strength level. Your body strength can change your emotional or psychic strength, if that makes sense. If you feel drained, weak, too tired, and there aren't really good reasons for it. I mean, obviously, if you're not sleeping well, you'll probably feel drained and tired. But if you don't have real concrete reasons for that, you may be being vampired. We'll talk real quick about scanning your aura. This is something I like to teach more like in the Reiki class, but scan your aura just with your hands. You can just do this and feel for hot spots, cold spots, weird stuff. Sometimes you might feel like rocks or icky spots, sticky spots. Just kind of feel around, or have someone else do it, because it's really hard unless you're really aware of how your body normally feels. It's really hard to feel your own aura, but have someone else do it, because usually someone else, or if you're doing it on someone else, it feels different. It's their energy, it's a different energy, what I was saying, and so it feels different. If there are hard spots or cords, they could be draining you. And so if you feel hard spots, hot spots, cold spots, or cords, there are things you can do, but I really recommend, if you haven't had any training in that, go get some help, because you can hurt yourself trying to get rid of it yourself. And If it's put there deliberately by someone or something, then you're inviting a fight. And if you really don't know what you're doing, inviting a fight with something stronger than you may be a really bad thing. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? That's just kind of a really high overview. It's like a massage. I love that. Right. Now, sometimes self-massage can be fun. Real quick, let's talk about shielding. I'm so sorry about the dog. So what is a shield? A shield is an energetic barrier that you put up, maybe deliberately. I think some people put it up unconsciously, even in response to feeling attacked, right? But you can do it deliberately in a lot of different ways. And the goal is always, whether you're in a psychic situation or not, the goal for putting a shield up is sovereignty, right? Keeping your strength and keeping you away from harmful inputs, whatever they are, physical, emotional, or spiritual harmful energies. And so a shield is an energetic boundary. I like to think of it as kind of a hardening of your aura. So your aura can extend for many feet around you, but the part of the aura that you can probably feel on yourself is maybe 4 or 5 inches away from your body. So see if you can feel your aura and your chakras. And the way that that I was initially taught, which is really the universal way that everybody learns, is what they call the white light cloud. And so that's just close your eyes and just visualize your aura 4 or 5 inches away from your body, just becoming a white cloud all around you that's thick and really hard to penetrate. And see if you feel any different. That's as easy as it is. My first teacher was telling me that what she does, which I think is appropriate in situations like Lynn, if I were in therapy and I had all these toxic people throwing toxic crap at me, I might do every day, but I don't do every day anymore, is not visualizing white light, but visualizing something really strong. Like she recommended like a metal armor suit, a suit of armor that's like bank vault door thick of metal around you. And the thicker and harder your visualization, I think, the stronger the boundary. But the important thing to do is the most important way to make it stronger, if you need super strong, if you're just walking into the Safeway, if I'm just walking in the Safeway, I will just do the quick white cloud visualization. That's all I need. And if I'm walking into a business meeting that I know is not going to be controversial, white light. But if I'm walking into a meeting with the security guys again at work, constant battle, or I'm walking into a metaphysical bookstore, that you can do the same white light thing, but you need to raise energy. And that raising energy makes that same visualization so much stronger. And the way I was taught to raise energy is to so sit with your feet on the floor, not crossed, nothing crossed. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Feel your roots starting from your tailbone, reaching into the earth, reaching like a tree, growing roots down deep into the earth, as far and as wide as you can. As the roots grow down, down, deep into the earth, they eventually touch the molten lava core of the earth. And that molten lava energy, hot, fiery, comes up your roots all the way through the earth, up into your tailbone, energizing your root chakra, your tailbone area, and then rising up your kundalini up to your sacral chakra, ovaries or lower intestines area, and then rising up your kundalini to your solar plexus chakra just above your belly button. Just feel this hot burning lava energy rising up your spine, up through your chest area, up to your heart chakra, feeling your heart chakra pound with hot lava energy. And continuing up your spine to your throat chakra. And up the back of your head to your third eye chakra. To your crown chakra. Up above your head. And energizing your entire aura. And feel that hot lava energy around you in a cloud of hot lava energy, whatever color you want. White is generally protective. Green is healthy. Red is passionate. Whatever color works for you right now, whatever you want. You have the power. And that's all it is. Does that feel different? With the addition of the energy? I know it's changed my voice. You can even hear it in my voice. You can make your cloud clear. You can make it flexible. You can make it impenetrable. You can, if you're in a place where you really need extra shielding power, you can visualize it being like a mirror. So it's a mirror facing out, and all toxic, harmful, whatever kind of energies are bouncing off harmlessly. My favorite author, Christopher Penczak, talks about the mirror shield as if it were a diamond with a million facets. So any kind of arrows of toxic energy coming at you just bounce off, fall away. There are people that encourage you to bounce the arrow back at the owner, and I think that's terrible. Why do that? It's not helping them. It's only infuriating them more and probably sending more arrows your way. That's just my personal opinion, is letting them all bounce away harmlessly and stopping the cycle is what heals the whole situation. That's my 2 cents worth.
Can I touch on some?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
So I just kind of want to share a couple of things that I've noticed have worked for me, especially doing tarot readings and astrology readings for other people. I don't have to, but there's a part of me needing to be in their energy. And I have found that wrapping myself up in like a rose quartz, as if my energy is within that energy. And at first I started doing it with clients so that I could be there unconditionally and loving and all of that. But then I started to notice, as I was working with my family and starting to kind of like, get rid of some of them for permanence, that anytime I felt their psychic attacks towards me, that people who are trying to vampire off of me want to make me weak. And people who are wanting to make somebody else weak don't want unconditional love. That is not their purpose and intention. So something like a rose quartz, I find is very easy for me to use. One, because I use it all the time and it's personal to me. But two, that dark energy doesn't want anything to do with unconditional love.
Nope.
And then you said something else. Oh, and then I always have the intention of sending the energy back to where it came from. So whether that person could have sent an arrow to me, but if I have the intention of sending that energy back to where it came from, then that could just go anywhere, and that could be like hundreds of generations ago as well. Like my energy is my responsibility. So I'm hoping that people do the same to me, give me back and I also reclaim my energy. A statement I've been saying a lot the last few days. I'm not sure if it's been kind of interesting for everybody else, but this week it's been very, very necessary for me to say this. I return the energy that is not mine, and I call the energy that is mine to return to me. And that has really strengthened me a lot this week.
That's awesome. Oh, hey, Jenna. Yeah. Let's hook up.
I love that. I came across this meditation about reclaiming your energy, and basically any energy I had given out or been depleted throughout the week, I kind of make into this big energetic ball in front of me, and I call it back at the end of the day and set like almost a visual number so I can create another ball and then integrate it back in. I find when I have negative energy or even negative energy directed back at me, I direct it to the earth. I think Mother Gaia is so big and huge that when we have like even a dark energy consuming us, right, it's like 0.00000001%, and Mother Gaia is able to just neutralize it. Rather than, it just be draining or diminishing for us. So that's like, I don't know, maybe I should be returning it to sender, but my way is just kind of not interacting in that dynamic too. I think it is interesting with family members that don't want unconditional love and set that, it's really hard. I just practice, I think, neutrality more than, but I like the rose quartz, Jen. That sounds an interesting way too. It has to be confusing too for them.
Creation, did you have something to add? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love the idea of hiding yourself in a crystal, right? Because the crystal has its own vibration, right? And there's something very nurturing there. So even if it wasn't rose quartz, just having something to encapsulate you, right? I like that practice. And I forget to ground myself and like send energies back through the ground. I was wondering if you guys had any like mantras. Like I loved what Jen said about sending things back, and I've been talking recently about the concept of like mirrors, right? And allowing, their good intentions to be reflected back to them. There was an interesting concept being brought out. I don't know if it was in a group with this group or another group, but how sometimes using the mirror could be misinterpreted as like when someone has aggressive attention directed towards you, that the aggression is perceived as coming from you, right? So I wonder if anyone has any good, safe little mantras to say along the lines of like, I am rubber, you are glue kind of thing.
I think, so this is just my 2 cents worth, but I think that the important mantra is, whatever that important mantra is, it's taking ownership of your side of things, right? If you're flinging stuff back, then you need to take ownership of that. And that's why I don't. I have a few affirmations in the document, by the way. Oh, and I don't think here, Jen and Creation, here's the link to the document. But these are some that I learned from a class I took in how to get rid of negative entity. And if you take on your sovereignty and your ownership of your side of things, then that's where strength comes from, not from inflicting harm in retaliation. So
I didn't
some
mean in
of these,
retaliation, but like if you as a silent individual hold up that mirror for them and not like, I see where that actually the context came within driving, like putting shield
Oh,
protection on the car, but
sure.
but just allowing them to, like, even in a
To see-
non-reactive,
to show someone themselves in a loving way is, of course, a beautiful intention. It's not usually appreciated if it wasn't requested. And that's been my experience, is if someone comes to me and says, please help me get through this thing, then you bet I'm going to be as gently honest as I can with a mirror of what I see. But if someone's, attacking me and being a crazy person, and I say, stop, that's not, I don't appreciate that. You just hit my boundary, no. And if they don't respect it, or maybe they do respect it and they kind of are interested in why I put that up, and I tell them, I actively ask their permission to show that mirror, because if the person doesn't give permission and doesn't welcome that feedback, then it's just going to be seen as an attack, as you mentioned. So I think getting approval for that is super, super important, and it's also kind of an ethical thing, in my opinion. It's just like what we were talking about at the beginning, with the person that was scanning people, or scanning Tracy. I'll call you out. Without her permission, it's exactly the same thing, right? It's giving somebody too much information where it's not welcome, and it isn't going to be well received. It's going to be an attack either way, either direction. I think that's just my 2 cents worth.
maybe I should give a practical example, because it's not really I'm actively sought out by this. There's actually 2 situations. I'm actually actively sought out by this person whenever they're in fighting mood, right? And they will cross boundaries to be confrontational with me. And it can escalate very quickly. Just me maintaining my boundaries is not enough. I've had to enlist the help of other people to help me establish firm boundaries. And it's I stay out of this person's path, right? So even just maintaining my own personal freedoms, like, I've had to have the police involved. But and then in another situation,
That's a very toxic situation.
It really is. It's a toxic roommate situation.
Harmful.
Yes.
I think that qualifies as harmful.
Yes. Yeah. So there's that. But then there's also like, I have this person that I was talking to, and he was being rude to his roommate. And so as I after as his roommate left, I left too. I didn't want to reward bad behavior, right? And so then I get a text message saying, oh, he's had his chance and he squandered it. I'm going to change the locks and blah, blah, blah. And so, I will be very not permissive of accepting misinformation, right? And so I said myself, I'm not saying that he's not doing anything bad. I only meant from what I saw, you were being provocative. I'm sorry you aren't getting along, right? But even that is, it can either provoke more dumping of misinformation or distancing from me, right? Yeah.
And it's exactly the same, or very similar anyway, situation. If you are in, so as I was mentioning earlier, I do a lot of psychic or a lot of ghost work, and I'll be in a very haunted situation where there are negative malevolent energies around that are making everything much worse and attacking the people that like the looky-loos. And my response to an attack like that is to stay, first of all, out of harm's way. My sovereignty of my space and my energetic boundaries have to be up, or I'm just going to fall on the floor. I'm not going to be helpful. I'll just be weak. So my strength is first and foremost in that situation. And then what I do is I challenge them. Why are you doing this? And without malice, without being really judgmental and negative, but also being kind of firm. And sometimes I put like a school marm in my voice, right? Why are you doing that, you naughty child? Because if you come with oh, you're a big monster and I'm afraid of you, go away, you evil monster, you're in a weak situation. You're weak on your side of the border. If you can be in your strength and ask very firmly, why are you doing this? You can force them to look at themselves and maybe ask themselves without challenging them to make it a fight. I don't know. That's where, if I can do that, that's how I've been successful. I'm not always able to do that, but again, if you challenge them to look into themselves and ask themselves why they're doing it, it forces them to look at themselves like in a mirror. But it's doing it with their permission, because it's asking them to look at themselves. Does that make sense? I think that permission thing is really important, because it's
yeah, I think Sheri, you bring up a huge thing with permission. Like people, I mean, as we learn things, we think, oh, this is such a great way to see the world. Why don't other people see it like this? But when you aren't asked to be someone's teacher, people are like, whoa, I don't want unsolicited advice. Who are you to tell this person how to live their life, what is right or what is wrong? It's very different when someone comes to you seeking help and asking that question, time and intention. Of course, you're able to help then, but if you're like, oh, I'm going to show you how evil you are and set that mirror. No, who are you to be their teacher? Let life be that teacher, because energy does not know yes or no, right? Energy just feels energy. So when you give that energy, you are literally saying, yes, yes, I want more of this. And I think a whole thing with boundaries is when we express them verbally, that's a request. Boundaries are what we enforce ourselves. So if you are agreeing and putting yourself in that situation, you're saying, I agree to this. That person seeking you out continually every time they're frustrated and aggressive, you are giving that a yes, yes, yes by engaging in that manner. I think it's a whole different entity when you're talking about spiritual boundaries and maleficent spirits, because that is a whole standing firm ground, right? But it's also not engaging, not saying like, oh, I'm so fearful, you're so evil, how could you do this? It's just this neutrality, right? Just saying no more, right? A banishment or less, in that sense. I really like to call on my ancestors' guides to align my space and my spirit for anything only love and above, for the vibration may penetrate my aura in this time, dimension, space, and dream, because those are all different realities, I believe, unseen and unseen and seen, just kind of, I really just think engaging, even when it's a strong view, if that's really, really positive or really, really negative, it's just saying yes. I don't think I am meant to teach someone to see the world the way I see it. I think that's for the world will teach them. I'm not that person, and I love, and Sheri, you said, like when someone asks for help, of course, of course I'm there. And that really makes things special and sacred, because that intention is saying, hey, I need you and I value what you're saying, rather than someone telling you. I think we live in this world of social media. No one asks what you did this year. You just know every vacation Susie went on all year. We live in a world without questions. So I think it's so rare and beautiful when people seek out, support.
Maybe I should give it more context. I've been living with this person for 5 years. I can't afford to move. There's a possibility that they've been sexually molesting my daughter. I had to go send her away. And then they come home very intoxicated, right? And once I started getting assaulted, not sexually, but like getting, he would cross, I would have a curtain that blocks his area from my area. Then he would cross over the curtain to complain about something. And then, yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Creation,
It's
I
an
really
abusive
can't
situation.
say. I think safety is an issue, right? I think safety, there are options. I was homeless for over a year in my life. I don't share that with many people, but there are options. I've seen dark, terrible places. There are options. That's not a safe place, right?
Right. I think
And-
so. I've sent my daughter away. I'm just trying to, I've got cameras everywhere now, and the police are involved, and I think this person needs to go to jail. So that's why I'm staying.
Can I?
What you're doing is you're standing in your power, and that's all you can do, right? You're standing in your strength and saying, you cannot defeat my strength. And that's all you can ever do. You can't actually control every situation, but as Sarah was saying, there are options, and knowing that you have options gives you strength too. Go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Well, I was just gonna so there's only so much crystals can do, and good intentions, and the beautiful thing about the crystals and intentions is that they strengthen us on such a subtle vibrational way, so that the actions we choose to carry out or react to carry out are strengthened. So in situations like this, I think it's, and it sucks. I mean, I haven't been anything to quite that degree, but I've definitely been there where it's like, I can't leave at the time. It's just a time to just keep going back to yourself. At this point, it has nothing to do with him. I think any energy work towards that person could probably do more harm or egg them on or get their ego going. We gotta be really careful about who we're doing magic with and what it's actually going to do. What are they going to receive and how are they going to receive it? And to also understand that's not our responsibility. So it's up to us to decide to make it our responsibility or not, because what we do, what our energy is our responsibility. So every time this happens, do start preaching.
I'm sorry, I should have put that in the chat.
Sunday. I know. I should have like a warning Scorpio rising just above my head all the time. But it's just anytime you get in these situations and you have the time to be safe, or even within it, if you can remember, just put yourself in that rose quartz, and I'm not saying that that's what's going to work for you, because I use a lot of different crystals depending on what I need. I just found that rose quartz works whenever I don't want negative energy coming into my field, because they don't understand that. That's not, they just don't understand it. So yes, I am sending you lots of energy. Here I am saying, don't send people energy, but I'm sending you a lot of positive energy.
Right.
And if you don't want it, I'll take it back.
Well, and dealing with somebody who's an abusive alcoholic. I mean, my dad was an abusive alcoholic. I can totally 1000% empathize with you. So please don't feel like I'm blaming you in any way, or shaming you for not doing the right thing, because you know what the right thing is. That's your realm. But I think what, as Sarah was saying, what is this situation doing for you? I think that's a beautiful, beautiful way to look at it. I need to wrap this up only from my standpoint because my laptop's about to die. But if you guys want to stay on, I could make Jen or Sarah or somebody the host. But let me just add, at the very end of the document are some quick self-healing boundary affirmations that I got from this amazing teacher that I really have to share, because if you do them on your own and they don't blow your mind, do them a few more times, because these are like really mind blowing. Stand in your power, feet firm, chin up, shoulders back, you know, facing the sun first thing in the morning, and say things like, it is now commanded, because you're commanding it, right? This is me, my sovereignty, my universe. I'm commanding. I love that. It is now commanded that any imbalances and hidden interference preventing any aspect of my consciousness from becoming and staying whole and complete, and my connection with source and higher self from being 100% optimal, be healed and resolved immediately. Piss off. This is my universe. I want my consciousness to become optimal and whole and complete. I love this. It is now commanded to heal and restore my universal protective shields. That's, you know, because we're all born with protective shields from the universe. And when we go through abuse or awful situations, we forget about those, and you can command that they come right back and not be needing the other kinds of shields we talked about. It is now commanded that all interfering negative entities, ETs, watchers, monkey demons, saboteurs, dark angels, or any demons affecting me be safely removed and healed in the highest and best way, and the wholes filled with the highest degree of love and light. Thank you. That's the one I do every day in various forms. I just edit it as needed. It is now commanded that all negative portals and hidden portals affecting me, because there can be, any portals affecting me be dissolved and uncreated, and the whole filled with love and light. Thank you. It is now commanded that the universal shield be downloaded and activated in me, and any imbalance preventing all aspects of the shield to be 100% be healed in the highest and best way. And I added Sarah's love and above only. I love that. And my laptop hasn't died yet. I see a bunch of comments. That's awesome. Yeah, yep. Absolutely. So I need to go, but if you guys want to hang out, I could make someone else the host and you can hang out if you want. Totally up to you guys. I'm just like afraid my laptop's about to die.
You can make me host.
Okay.
I'm not sure how long I can stay on, but we can at least make me host till we figure it out.
I'll stay on a little bit.
1 second, I am.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Sheri. This was so helpful. I love the doc too. Really awesome.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you guys.
I am grateful for
Thank
you,
so
Sheri.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for all your wonderful wisdom. I've learned so much here today, and I really appreciate you all. I hope you'll come back sometime. Blessings. Blessings, love and light, and all love and above. I love that so
Yeah,
much.
I like love and above because that invites, joy, gratitude, bliss, enlightenment. We're good with those too.
Yeah. And everything else we can't even imagine, because there's
Right,
plenty more
exactly.
up there.
Far beyond.
Love and above. Woo. Love you guys. Take care. Have a wonderful
Bye.
night.
Thank you, Sheri.